He abandoned me when I had triplets, but he couldn't believe it when he saw me years later. Jennifer Parker felt the contractions intensifying when her husband Richard entered the hospital room with an expression she never imagined she'd see. The man who promised to be by her side forever couldn't disguise the panic in his eyes upon learning there were 3 babies, not just one as they'd expected. It was in that moment of greatest vulnerability that he spoke the words that would shatter her world. Richard wasn't prepared to be a father of triplets. His company was expanding, and this would change all his plans. As she screamed in pain, he left the separation papers on the bedside table and walked out of the room without looking back. "You can't be serious, Richard," she managed to scream between contractions. But he had already disappeared down the maternity ward corridors, leaving her alone at the most important moment of their lives. The nurses rushed to help when they saw her desperate, trying to get out of bed even while in labor. The midwife, an experienced woman named Nurse Betty, held her hands firmly. "My dear, now you need to focus on your babies. They need all of you," she said with a calm voice, but her eyes betrayed the outrage at what she'd just witnessed. 3 hours later, Emma, Ethan, and Noah were born. Premature, small, but fighters like their mother. Jennifer looked at those 3 little beings in the incubator and felt a strength she didn't know she possessed. She would be both mother and father to them, whatever the cost. The next day, she discovered Richard had emptied their joint account and cancelled all the cards. The house where they lived was in his name, and she received an eviction notice. With the babies still hospitalized, she found herself completely helpless. "Mrs. Parker, I need to speak with you," said the hospital social worker, a young woman with a compassionate look. "There are some options we can discuss for your situation." "I won't give my children up for adoption if that's what you're suggesting," Jennifer replied firmly, even with eyes swollen from crying. "No, that's not it. But there are support programs, and we have some volunteer families who help in cases like yours." Her mother-in-law, Mrs. Wilson, appeared on the 3rd day after the birth. Jennifer hoped she might offer support, but her words were like knife wounds. "I warned Richard that marrying you would cause problems. Now look at this, 3 children at once. That's not normal, Jennifer. You must have some genetic problem in your family." "Mrs. Wilson, please. This isn't the time for this," Jennifer begged, exhausted. "I can't help. I have my own life to take care of. Richard did what he thought was best for him." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. And she left, leaving Jennifer even more alone in that moment of despair. The head nurse, Deborah, had observed the whole situation since day 1. She was a woman in her 50s, mother of 2 grown children, and her heart ached to see that young mother so helpless. "Jennifer, can I make a proposal?" she said, approaching the chair where Jennifer was trying to breastfeed the 3 babies, switching them every few minutes. "What proposal?" "You can stay at my house for a while until you get organized. I have an empty room since my son got married." Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears, but this time with gratitude. "I can't pay anything right now, Deborah. I don't even have enough clothes for them." "We'll manage. The important thing is that you have a safe roof over your heads." That proposal was the first ray of hope Jennifer had seen since Richard abandoned her. She accepted without hesitation. Deborah's house was in a modest neighborhood in Queens, New York City. It was small but cozy. The back room became the Triplets' sanctuary. Jennifer slept very little, waking up every 2 hours to feed them, change diapers, and check if they were breathing properly. "You need to rest too," Deborah would say, noticing Jennifer's deep, dark circles. "How can I rest? They depend completely on me." "They depend on a healthy mother, not an exhausted one who might get sick." Deborah was right, but Jennifer felt she couldn't afford to show weakness. Every time she thought about Richard in the past, he was always well taken care of by his wealthy family. She needed to prove to herself that she could manage alone. The first weeks were the hardest. Ethan, the most fragile of the 3, had breathing problems and had to return to the hospital twice. Jennifer didn't have private health insurance and relied on Medicaid. The lines were long, the service slow, but she waited with infinite patience. "Mrs. Parker, "This boy needs daily respiratory therapy," explained the clinic pediatrician, Dr. Rodriguez. "I'll teach you some exercises you can do at home." "I'll do whatever it takes, doctor." "I can see that. You're a very dedicated mother." While caring for the triplets, Jennifer began thinking about the future. She had studied fashion design before getting married, but never practiced the profession. Richard always said she didn't need to work, that he would support the family. One afternoon, while the babies slept, she found some old notebooks with her college sketches. She flipped through the pages, seeing dresses, blouses, and skirts she had created years ago. Her talent was still there, just dormant. "What beautiful drawings," Deborah commented, peeking over her shoulder. "Oh, that's old stuff. I studied fashion before I got married." "Why did you stop?" "Richard thought I didn't need to work. And then, well, then they came along." "They don't stop you from having your own dreams, Jennifer." Those words kept echoing in her mind. Could she rekindle that passion? How could she balance designing clothes with 3 newborns? The answer came unexpectedly. Deborah had mentioned Jennifer's situation to Mrs. Johnson, who owned a small neighborhood market. The shopkeeper, a big-hearted woman, approached Jennifer with a proposal. "Dear, I heard your story and have an idea. I need someone to help me at the market a few hours a day. You can bring the children. They can stay in a nursery. I can improvise in the back." "Mrs. Johnson, I don't know anything about retail." Jennifer hesitated. "You'll learn. What matters is wanting to work. And from what Deborah told me, you have plenty of that." The agreement was made. Jennifer would work 5 hours a day at the market, earning half the minimum wage plus housing in the small apartment above the store. It wasn't much, but it was independence. The first months at the market were intense. Jennifer brought the triplets in the triple stroller that Mrs. Johnson managed to get donated, and they stayed in the back of the store while she assisted customers. Between sales, she breastfed, changed diapers, and sang them to sleep. "That girl has grit," the regular customers would comment, impressed by her dedication. In the early mornings, when the triplets finally slept, Jennifer started drawing again. She created children's clothes, inspired by her own kids. They were simple pieces, but with special details that showed her talent. "Jennifer, what drawing is this?" Mrs. Johnson asked, finding her sketching on wrapping paper. "Oh, just some doodles. I was thinking about a little outfit for Emma." "Doodles nothing, this is professional. You should make these clothes to sell." "With what money? Where? I don't have a sewing machine or fabric or customers." "You can achieve anything, dear. The first step is to believe it's possible." Mrs. Johnson had a friend, Mr. Thompson, who worked at a small clothing factory. She showed him the designs and he was impressed with the creativity and delicacy of the pieces. "The girl really has talent," he said. "If she wants, I can lend her my sewing machine during off hours. And I know some suppliers who sell cheap fabric scraps." The offer was tempting, but Jennifer felt insecure. What if it didn't work out? What if she spent the little money she had on something uncertain? "Mothers are always afraid when trying to build something better for their children," said Deborah during a nighttime conversation. "But fear can't be bigger than the dream." Ethan had a more serious respiratory crisis one early morning. Jennifer ran with him to the emergency room, desperate. They were hospitalized for 3 days. 3 days without working, without earning, with extra expenses for transportation and food. "I can't rely only on the market," she thought, looking at Ethan finally recovered in her arms. "I need something of my own, something I can do even when they get sick." It was the motivation she needed. She took the designs, went to Mr. Thompson's factory, and asked to use the sewing machine on weekends. "Of course, dear, an idle machine doesn't earn money for anyone." Her first piece was a little romper for Ethan, light blue with little bear embroidery. It turned out perfect. The second was a little dress for Emma, baby pink with white lace. The third was a little dress shirt for Noah, elegant but comfortable. "How beautiful!" exclaimed Deborah when she saw the children dressed in their mother's creations. "You have to take pictures and show other people." "Take pictures with what?" "I only have a simple cell phone." "The neighbor's son understands photography. I'll ask him to help." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to leave a like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Tyler, 18 years old, the son of Deborah's neighbor, was finishing a technical photography course. When he heard Jennifer's story, he offered to photograph the triplets' clothes without charging anything. "It's for my portfolio too," he explained, "and I admire your story of overcoming." The photos turned out beautiful. The triplets, now 8 months old, were cute and healthy. The clothes enhanced their natural beauty, and Jennifer's work shone in every detail. Now, how to show this to the world, she wondered. The answer came through Ashley, a young motherhood blogger who was a regular customer at Mrs. Johnson's market. She saw the photos on Jennifer's cell phone by chance when she was showing them to a customer. "Who made these clothes?" Ashley asked, impressed. "I did," Jennifer replied timidly. "Really? What incredible work. Can I post it on my blog? I have 50,000 followers who will love to see your work." Jennifer barely knew what a blog was, but Ashley explained everything patiently. It would be a post telling her story, showing photos of the clothes and the triplets, and providing her contact for orders. "But what if no one is interested?" Jennifer questioned, always fearful. "Impossible. Your talent is evident and people love stories of overcoming like yours." The post was published on a Thursday morning. Jennifer was working at the market when messages started arriving on her cell phone. 12510 messages, mothers wanting to order clothes for their children. "Mrs. Johnson," she shouted, emotional, "they're ordering the clothes. I knew it, dear. I knew it would work." By the end of the day, she had 20 orders. Jennifer panicked. How would she make 20 clothes working only on weekends? "Calm down," said Mr. Thompson when she explained the situation. "Success sometimes comes too fast and we're not prepared, but there's a solution for everything." He proposed a partnership. Jennifer would create the patterns and choose the fabrics. He would provide the production structure during off hours and would even train some seamstresses to help her. Profits would be split 50-50. "Is that fair?" she asked, inexperienced in business. "More than fair. You're bringing the product, I'm providing the structure. That's how successful partnerships are made." Within 3 months, Jennifer's clothes were being sold in 5 stores in New York City. Word of mouth worked better than any advertising. Mothers photographed their children wearing the pieces and posted on social media, always tagging the brand Triplet Trends, the name Jennifer chose in honor of her children. Ethan, Emma, and Noah grew up healthy and happy. They were already walking, babbling words, with distinct personalities forming. Ethan was the most observant, Emma the smartest, Noah the most affectionate. "Mommy, woking?" Emma asked one day, seeing Jennifer sewing at home. "Yes, sweetheart. Mommy works to give nice things to you." "I like Mommy's woking," she said, hugging one of the newly finished pieces. The business grew, but so did the challenges. Competitors began copying Jennifer's designs. Suppliers raised prices. Some stores delayed payments. The young mother was learning firsthand that entrepreneurship was an emotional roller coaster. "Jennifer, you need to register your trademark," advised Ashley, who had become a close friend. "And maybe think about opening your own store." "My own store? I don't have money for that." "You don't have money not to do it. Your product is in demand, but you're letting others profit from your talent." Ashley was right. Jennifer was selling her creations to store owners, who resold them for 3 times what they paid her. It was time to take the next step. She went to the bank to ask for a loan, but without collateral or a cosigner, she couldn't get one. She tried some small investors in the area, but none took seriously a young single mother with 3 small children. "The doors are closing," she vented to Deborah. "Maybe I should be content with what I've already achieved." "Or maybe the right doors haven't appeared yet," Deborah replied with her life wisdom. The right door appeared through an unexpected customer. Catherine Mitchell, a successful businesswoman in her 50s, came to Mrs. Johnson's market specifically looking for Jennifer. "I'm a mother of 2 grown children and a grandmother of 4 grandchildren," she introduced herself. "I heard about your work and came to meet you in person." Jennifer showed her creations, told her story, introduced the triplets. Catherine listened attentively, asking questions about processes, suppliers, future plans. "How many pieces can you produce per month currently?" she asked. "About 200 working until dawn, but it could be more if I had better structure." "And how many would you like to produce?" "If I could dream big, 2,000 pieces per month." Catherine smiled. "That's not dreaming big. It's realistic planning for someone with talent and determination like yours. She proposed a partnership. She would invest in the company, help with the administrative and sales parts, while Jennifer would focus on creation and production. It would be a profit-sharing proportional to each one's investment. "Why do you want to help me?" Jennifer asked, suspicious. Life had taught her to be careful with offers that seemed too good to be true. "Because I believe in women who fight. When I started my first company 20 years ago, I was also a single mother. No one bet on me. I want to be for you what I wish others had been for me." Jennifer felt she could trust her. There was sincerity in Catherine's eyes, a connection between women who had faced similar battles. The partnership was formalized. Catherine rented a larger space for the workshop, hired permanent seamstresses, and organized an online sales system. Jennifer could finally dedicate herself to what she loved most, creating. Triplet trends exploded onto the market. Within 6 months, they had orders from all over the United States. The clothes were different from anything else on the children's wear market, elegant without being over the top, comfortable without being sloppy, with a touch of sophistication that children loved and parents approved of. Ethan, Emma, and Noah, now 2 years old, were the brand's official models. They appeared in every campaign, always natural, always happy. The public was charmed not just by the clothes, but by the story behind them. "Famous mommy!" exclaimed Noah one day, seeing his picture on a billboard. "No, son, mommy works very hard, and you help me by being the most beautiful babies in the world." The fame brought benefits, but also new challenges. Larger competitors tried to lure Jennifer's seamstresses away by offering higher salaries. Suppliers fought for her contracts, sometimes in not-so-ethical ways, and there was always the pressure to create new collections, maintain quality, and satisfy increasingly demanding customers. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like the video and especially to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. The most difficult moment came when Emma developed a severe allergy that required expensive and constant treatment. Jennifer had money, but the doctors recommended a specialist in New York City who charged high fees and did not accept Medicaid. "How much does the full treatment cost?" she asked the doctor. "About $50,000 spread out over a year." It was a lot of money, even for someone with a prosperous company. Jennifer thought about selling a stake in the company, but Catherine had a better idea. "Let's create a special campaign, a limited collection where part of the profits goes to childhood allergy research. Your story will touch people's hearts, and you'll get the money without compromising the business." The Emma collection was launched with an emotional campaign. Jennifer appeared in the videos talking about her daughter's allergy, about how motherhood had unexpected challenges, and about the importance of supporting one another. Sales exceeded all expectations. "We've raised $100,000, Jennifer," announced Catherine, beaming. "You can treat Emma with the best specialist, and there's even money left over to help other children with similar problems." It was a moment of great emotion. Seeing that her success could help not only her family, but other families going through similar hardships, gave Jennifer's work a new purpose. Emma's treatment was a success. Within 6 months, she was completely cured. The triplets grew up strong, healthy, and smart. They attended a good private school, had English lessons, swimming, and dance. They were happy children who didn't even remember the difficulties of their early years. "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to work with you," said Ethan, now 3 years old, playing with colorful scraps of fabric. "And I want to be a famous model," declared Emma, parading through the room in one of the new collection's dresses. "I want to be just like Mommy," added Noah, hugging Jennifer tightly. The love of those 3 children was the energy that drove Jennifer every single day. Every company achievement, every professional recognition, every extra zero in the bank account only had meaning because it allowed her to give them everything she had ever dreamed of. Triplet Trends now had 15 employees, sold across the United States, and was beginning to receive inquiries from retailers abroad. Jennifer had become a reference in the national luxury children's fashion segment. "We need to think about franchises," suggested Catherine during a planning meeting. "We have enough demand to open our own stores in several cities. I don't want to grow too fast and lose control of quality," Jennifer pondered. I've learned that sustainable success is better than uncontrolled growth. She had matured greatly as a businesswoman. She was no longer the insecure young woman who drew on wrapping paper. She was a respected businesswoman who made thoughtful decisions and took calculated risks. The first flagship store was opened in the most sophisticated mall in New York City. The grand opening was a milestone in Jennifer's life. Journalists, bloggers, famous clients, and successful businesswomen attended. The triplets, now 4 years old, participated in the ribbon-cutting ceremony wearing their own brand clothes. 5 years ago, I was desperate in a hospital, not knowing how I would raise 3 babies alone, Jennifer said in her opening speech. Today, I'm here fulfilling dreams I didn't even know I had. Life can change completely if we don't give up on ourselves. The audience applauded emotionally. Many women identified with her story of overcoming. The store was an immediate success. First-month sales exceeded the most optimistic projections. Mothers lined up to buy the exclusive creations, and the triplets became little celebrities in the children's fashion world. "Mummy, why do people always want to take pictures with us?" asked Emma, curious. "Because you're special, my love. You inspired me to create all this." "Are we important?" questioned Ethan, always analytical. "You are the most important thing I have in the whole world." With the success consolidated, Jennifer began receiving tempting offers. Large corporate groups wanted to buy her brand. They offered amounts that would guarantee financial comfort for the rest of her life. "What do you intend to do?" asked Catherine. "Keep building. Money we can earn in many ways, but legacy we build only once." She wanted Triplet Trends to become an international brand. She wanted her story to inspire single mothers worldwide. She wanted her children, when they grew up, to be proud not only of the financial success, but of the positive impact they had caused in other people's lives. The triplets turned 5 years old. They were articulate, educated, affectionate children. They spoke English fluently, played piano, practiced sports. But mainly, they were united and respectful with everyone around them. "Do you remember your daddy?" Jennifer asked one day when they questioned having only one mother. "No," they answered in chorus. "One day you might want to meet him. If that happens, I will help you." "But why doesn't he live with us?" insisted Noah. "Because sometimes people make choices we can't understand. The important thing is that you are loved, protected, and happy." Jennifer had forgiven Richard long ago. Not for him, but for herself. Holding a grudge was like carrying a heavy stone that led nowhere. She had transformed the pain into fuel for success. Life continued in a prosperous and happy routine. Jennifer divided her time between the company, the children, and some romantic relationships that arose, but none serious enough to introduce to the triplets. She was selective, knowing any man entering their lives would have to understand the children were the absolute priority. "Don't you miss having a partner?" asked Ashley during lunch. "Sometimes, but not enough to accept just anything. If someday someone appears who adds to our life instead of complicating it, then yes." At 6 years old, the triplets were little brand ambassadors. They participated in events, advertising campaigns, interviews on children's programs. They were natural in front of the cameras, charismatic without being artificial. Triplet Trends now exported to 12 countries. Jennifer traveled frequently to international fairs, always taking the children when possible. They visited Paris, Milan, New York, always staying in the best hotels, always treated with the affection of a mother who knew how to value achievements. "Mummy, are we rich?" asked Ethan during a trip to Europe. "We have enough to live well and help other people. That's better than being rich." "What's the difference?" "Rich is having a lot of money. Prosperous is having money, health, love, and purpose. We are prosperous." It was an important lesson she wanted to teach her children. Money was the result of a job well done, not the ultimate goal. At 7 years old, the triplets already showed well-defined personalities. Ethan wanted to be a business owner like his mother. Emma dreamed of being a fashion designer and model. Noah wanted to be a doctor to help sick children. They all had clear goals and their mother's full support. "You can be whatever you want," she always said. "The important thing is to choose something that makes you happy and helps other people in some way." The company now had 150 employees. Jennifer created a support program for single mothers working in the clothing factory, offering on-site daycare, flexible hours, and opportunities for professional growth. "Why do you do this?" asked a journalist during an interview. "Because I know how difficult it is to be a mother and a professional at the same time. If I can make life easier for other women, why not do it?" This humane stance of Jennifer won her even more admirers. She became a reference not only as a business owner, but as a person. Catherine, her partner, became practically family. The triplets called her Aunt Kathy, and she treated them like grandchildren. It was a business relationship that had evolved into a genuine friendship. "Jennifer, we have an interesting proposal," Catherine announced one morning. "The Italian brand Little Angels wants to partner to launch our collection in Europe." "What kind of partnership?" "Joint venture. They provide the European distribution structure. We provide the product and the know-how. Profits split 50-50. It was an incredible opportunity. Triplet Trends would reach major European capitals through a brand already established in the local market. "And the triplets," was Jennifer's first concern. "They remain our exclusive models. In fact, they want to do a global campaign with them." The decision wasn't easy. It meant more exposure for the children, more travel, more responsibilities. But it also meant global impact for her message of overcoming. "What do you think?" she asked her children, now 8 years old with opinions of their own about everything. "I want to see Europe for real, not just passing through," said Emma. "It'll be cool to be famous there too," added Noah. "If Mommy thinks it's good for our family, I agree," concluded Ethan, always mature for his age. The partnership was closed. In 6 months, Triplet Trends was being sold in 50 European stores. The launch campaign, starring the triplets, caused a sensation in the international media. "American Mom Builds Fashion Empire After Husband Abandons Her with Triplets" was the headline in the Wall Street Journal. From abandoned to empowered, the Jennifer Parker story published Vogue USA. Jennifer's story inspired women all over the world. She began receiving invitations for international lectures on female entrepreneurship and personal overcoming. "Mommy became really famous," exclaimed Emma, seeing her mother on the cover of an international magazine. "We became famous," corrected Jennifer. "Without you, none of this would exist." The triplets were growing up well-balanced, despite their fame. They continued studying at the same school, playing with the same friends and being normal children when they weren't working. Jennifer made a point of maintaining the family routine: dinners together, supervised homework, bedtime conversations. Professional success could never compromise her success as a mother. By age 9, the triplets already spoke 3 languages and showed diverse talents. Ethan had an aptitude for numbers and strategy. Emma was creative and charismatic. Noah was empathetic and studious. Each followed their natural inclinations with their mother's full support. The company was now valued at 50 million reais. Jennifer appeared on lists of the country's most influential women, received entrepreneurship awards, and was invited to TV shows. 10 years ago, I was at rock bottom," she reflected in an interview. "Today, I have a thriving company, 3 wonderful children, and the certainty that any situation can be transformed with determination and hard work." Life seemed perfect. But Jennifer knew that life had its cycles, and moments of testing always appeared when we least expected them. The test came when the triplets turned 10. A gossip magazine published an article speculating about their paternity, suggesting that Richard might not be the biological father. The report was unfounded, but caused a stir in the media. "Mommy, what does questionable paternity mean?" asked Ethan, who had read the article online. "It means journalists with nothing better to do make up stories to sell magazines," Jennifer replied calmly. "But is Daddy really our dad?" insisted Emma. "Biologically, yes. But a real father is the one who raises, cares for, and loves you. In that sense, you really only have a mother." The answer was enough for them. Jennifer never lied to her children, always adapting the truth to their age. The company continued to grow. It now had its own stores in 8 countries and sold online worldwide. The triplets were internationally recognized as the faces of the brand. "We want to make a documentary about your story," proposed an American producer. "It would be an inspiration for millions of mothers around the world." "As long as it doesn't overexpose my children," Jennifer negotiated. The documentary Three Little Miracles told Jennifer's complete story, from being abandoned at the hospital to the children's fashion empire. It was nominated for an Emmy and watched by millions of people. "Now everyone knows our story," commented Noah after watching the documentary. "And maybe our story will help other families not give up on their dreams," replied Jennifer. At 11 years old, the triplets were already articulate and conscious pre-teens. They actively participated in company decisions that involved them, had opinions on advertising campaigns and product choices. "We want to create a teen line," suggested Emma, "for when we grow up and don't fit into children's clothes anymore." "Good idea. Let's research the market," agreed Jennifer, always open to her children's suggestions. Life continued on a prosperous and harmonious upward trend. Jennifer had found the perfect balance between motherhood and entrepreneurship, between financial success and personal fulfillment. But destiny was preparing a meeting she never imagined would happen. It was a Tuesday morning when Jennifer received a phone call that would change everything. Catherine called, agitated with unexpected news. "Jennifer, you need to know something. Richard is trying to contact the company." Jennifer's heart raced. 10 years after abandoning them, he was trying some kind of approach. "What does he want?" "I don't know. He said he needs to talk to you about the children. He left a phone number." Jennifer was silent for a few seconds. The triplets were at school. She was in the company office, surrounded by the empire she built with her own hands. And suddenly, the ghost of the past resurfaced. "I won't return the call," she decided. "If it's something important about the children, he can go through the courts." "Are you sure? Maybe it's good to know what he wants." "I'm sure. He lost the right to want anything 10 years ago." But throughout the day, curiosity ate away at her peace. What did Richard want? Why after so long? Did he know about her success? About the children? That night, after putting the triplets to sleep, Jennifer was alone in her home office, looking at the paper with Richard's phone number. Her hands trembled as she picked up her cell phone. She dialed the number but hung up before completing the call. She did this 3 times. "What nonsense is this?" she scolded herself. "I'm a successful businesswoman, mother of 3 wonderful children. I'm not afraid of him." On the 4th attempt, she completed the call. "Hello?" Richard's voice answered on the other end. "It's Jennifer. I heard you were trying to get in touch." There was an awkward silence. "Jennifer, Thank you for calling. I know you must be surprised." "Surprised is one word. What do you want, Richard?" "I want to see my children." "What children? You have no children with me. You have 3 children you abandoned before they were even born." "I know I was wrong. I know I was a coward. But they are my children too." "Biologically, maybe. Legally, no. You signed away your parental rights when you left me." "I can contest that in court." "You can try. But know that I will fight with every resource I have to protect my children from the man who abandoned them." The call ended with Jennifer hanging up the phone, furious. How dare he show up after 10 years wanting rights to children he abandoned? The next morning she consulted her lawyer. "Could he get some kind of visitation?" she asked, worried. "Legally it's difficult, considering the abandonment and the waiver he signed. But if he hires a good lawyer and claims changed circumstances, it's possible he could get something. What if the triplets don't want to meet him? Their opinion will be considered by the judge, especially given their age." Jennifer decided to talk to her children that same night. "I need to tell you something," she began, gathering them in the living room after dinner. "Did something bad happen?" asked Ethan, noticing his mother's seriousness. "Not bad, but important. Your biological father contacted me. He wants to meet you." The 3 fell silent, processing the information. "Why now?" asked Emma. "I don't know. Maybe because you've grown up, maybe because our family has become well known." "I want to meet him," said Noah impulsively. "I don't," countered Ethan. "He abandoned us." "I don't know what I want," confessed Emma. "You don't need to decide now. And whatever you decide, I will support you." The following days were difficult. The triplets talked among themselves, asked Jennifer questions, researched parental rights on the internet. It was a complex situation for 11-year-olds to handle. "Mom, if we meet him, will it change our life?" asked Ethan. "Only if you want it to change. I will always be your mother. I will always take care of you." "What if he's nice and we like him?" questioned Noah. "Then you'll have a father too. It's not bad to have more people who love us." "What if he's bad?" worried Emma. "Then you never have to see him again. The choice is yours." After a week of reflection, the triplets reached a joint decision. "We want to meet him," announced Ethan, speaking for all three, "but only once, and with you there." "Are you sure?" "Yes. We want to know what he's like, why he did what he did. Then we'll decide whether we want to keep seeing him or not." Jennifer called Richard and arranged to meet at a public park on a Saturday morning. It would be a neutral setting, with other people around, no pressure for anyone. "How will I recognize you?" he asked. "You won't have any trouble," Jennifer replied curtly. On Saturday, she dressed the triplets in casual but still elegant outfits from the brand. On the way, she explained that they didn't need to behave in any special way, that they should just be themselves. They arrived at the park and saw a man about 40 years old, his hair starting to grey, wearing simple but well-kept clothes, waiting nervously on a bench near the playground. "That's him," Jennifer said softly. When Richard saw them approaching, his expression was one of complete shock. The triplets were beautiful, well-groomed, dressed with natural elegance. Jennifer was stunning, a confident woman who radiated success. "Hello, Richard," she greeted formally. "Jennifer, my God, how you are, how they are." "Grown, healthy and happy," she finished. "Children, this is Richard, your biological father." "Hi," the three said in unison, polite but without enthusiasm. Richard knelt to be at their eye level. "You are beautiful, perfect. I'm sorry I wasn't there." "Why didn't you stay?" asked Noah directly. Richard swallowed hard. "Because I was a coward. Because I was afraid I couldn't take care of 3 babies at once." "But Mommy did," observed Emma. "Yes, your mother is much stronger and braver than I am." "Are you rich?" asked Ethan, curious. "No, I work selling insurance." "Mommy is rich," declared Noah proudly. "She has a famous company." Richard looked at Jennifer with a mixture of admiration and regret. "I know. I saw about you on the internet. I was impressed with everything you've accomplished." "We've accomplished," she corrected. "Me and them together." The conversation continued for another hour. Richard talked about his life, apologized several times, asked questions about the triplets' routine. They answered politely, but without forming an emotional connection. "Can I see you again?" he asked at the end. The triplets looked at each other. "We'll think about it," said Ethan diplomatically. In the car on the way home, Jennifer asked for their opinion. "He seems nice, but kind of boring," summarized Emma. "I felt sorry for him," confessed Noah. "He missed his chance to know us when we were little. Now we're big and we don't need a father," concluded Ethan with his early maturity. "So you don't want to see him again?" "No need," they replied in unison. Jennifer called Richard that same night. "They don't want regular contact with you," she informed him directly. "I understand. They have a complete life without me." "They do. And they will continue to." "Jennifer, can I ask you something?" "What?" "I'm sorry. For everything. You've become an amazing woman. They are wonderful children. I lost the best thing I ever had in my life." "You didn't lose it, Richard. You threw it away." And she hung up the phone. That episode marked a definite closure of the past. The triplets had met their biological father, satisfied their curiosity, and decided they didn't need him in their lives. Jennifer felt relieved and proud of their maturity. Life returned to its prosperous and happy normal. The company kept growing, the triplets developed magnificently, and Jennifer fulfilled dreams she didn't even know she had. At 12 years old, the triplets entered adolescence maintaining the balanced personality and solid values that Jennifer had always cultivated. They were young people aware of their privileges, but also of their responsibilities. "Mummy, when we grow up, will you still be the face of the brand?" asked Emma. "Only if you want me to be. The brand can evolve with you, or you can take completely different paths." "I want to study business administration and help with the company," said Ethan. "I want to be a fashion designer and create even more beautiful clothes," declared Emma. I want to be a pediatrician and help sick children, maintained Noah. So we'll have a businessman, a fashion designer, and a doctor in the family. What beautiful diversity. That was exactly what Jennifer had always wanted. Children who were independent, followed their passions, and made a difference in the world. The Triplet Trends empire was now internationally established. Jennifer became a global reference in female entrepreneurship and personal triumph. Her talks filled auditoriums, her autobiographical book became a bestseller, her story inspired millions of people. Have you ever thought about running for political office? Asked a journalist during an interview. No, my mission is to inspire women through entrepreneurship, not politics. But you could do so much for single mothers in the country. I already do. Through my company, my talks, the example I set. Sometimes social impact comes more directly and effectively outside of politics. Jennifer kept her feet on the ground despite all the success. She knew life could change quickly, and what mattered was staying humble and grateful. The triplets turned 13 at an intimate party, with only family and close friends. They were conscious, polite, caring teenagers. The emotional investment Jennifer had made in them all those years was bearing wonderful fruit. Thank you for everything, Mom, said Ethan during the birthday speech. Thank you for never giving up on us, added Emma. Thank you for being the best mum in the world, finished Noah. Jennifer cried with emotion. Those words were worth more than all the business awards she had received. The company was now valued at 200 million reais. Jennifer appeared on the lists of the richest women in the country, but she continued living in the same house she had moved into when the triplets were small. She had expanded and renovated the house but didn't want to move neighborhoods. Why don't we buy a mansion? Asked Emma, seeing the houses of other wealthy families. Because a home isn't a place, it's a feeling. Here we've been happy since the beginning of our new life. And we still are happy, said Noah, hugging his mother. It was true. Despite all the luxury they could have, they maintained a simple and close life. They had dinner together every day, talked about everything, supported each other through difficulties. Jennifer never married again. She had some relationships, but none serious enough to integrate into the family. She was selective and in no hurry. If it was meant to happen, it would happen naturally. Don't you miss having a husband? Asked Ethan in a private conversation. Sometimes. But I have you, I have the company, I have a full life. If someone special comes along, great. If not, that's fine too. When we grow up and get married, you'll be alone, worried Emma. I'll have grandchildren to spoil, Jennifer smiled. And I'll have the satisfaction of having raised 3 wonderful human beings who will make a difference in the world. Life continued in an upward spiral of achievements and happiness. Jennifer had turned a situation of abandonment and despair into the greatest accomplishment of her life. Not only had she built a business empire, but she had raised 3 exceptional children who were her greatest masterpiece. By the time they turned 14, the triplets were practically young adults. They had formed opinions, clear goals, solid values. They actively participated in company decisions, traveled the world on business missions, and were respected in the business community. You grew up too fast, Jennifer sighed, watching them get ready for a company event. But we grew up well, right, Mom? Asked Noah. You grew up perfectly. I'm so proud of you. And we're proud of you, said Ethan. You're our inspiration. You are my inspiration. Everything I achieved was with the thought of giving you the best possible future. They were a family united by love, resilience, and gratitude. Every achievement was celebrated together, every difficulty faced as a team. The brand Triplet Trends was now present in 50 countries. It was synonymous with quality, elegance, and an inspiring story. The triplets continued to be the face of the brand, but now they also participated in strategic decisions. We want to create a social line, proposed Emma at a board meeting. Quality clothes sold at cost for families in need. Good idea, agreed Ethan. We can use part of the profits from the premium line to subsidize the social line. And we can partner with pediatricians to distribute the clothes in hospitals, suggested Noah. Jennifer smiled proudly, seeing her children thinking about how to use their success to help others. They had learned the most important lesson. Success that doesn't benefit others isn't true success. The Social Line project was implemented and became a milestone in the United States textile industry. Other companies began to follow suit, creating similar social responsibility programs. "You're changing the business mindset of the country," commented Catherine, now 70 years old but still active in the company. "We're continuing what Mom started," replied Ethan. "She always taught us that shared success is sweeter." At 15, the triplets were recognized nationally not only as models, but as young social entrepreneurs. They gave talks in schools, participated in television programs, and were examples for their generation. "How are you so mature at just 15?" asked a host during an interview. "Our mother always talked to us as if we were adults," explained Emma. "She taught us from a young age that every choice has a consequence, and that life can be hard, but we can choose how to react to difficulties," added Noah. "Our story began with a difficulty, but our mother turned it into strength," finished Ethan. Jennifer watched the interview from the dressing room, moved. Her children were articulate, aware, inspiring. They had absorbed all the lessons she had tried to teach over the years. The company now had 500 direct employees and provided jobs for thousands of people in the production chain. It was one of the largest children's fashion companies in the world, but it maintained the family values Jennifer had always cherished. "We must never forget where we came from," she always said in board meetings. "We started in a little room at the back of a market. That is our DNA. Simplicity, authenticity, and determination." The triplets turned 16 at the height of adolescence, but maintained the emotional maturity they had always shown. They were well-balanced young people who knew how to handle fame, money, and responsibilities. "Mom, we want to surprise you," announced Emma one Sunday. "What kind of surprise?" "You'll find out. But you need to come with us to the helipad tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon." Jennifer was curious but completely trusted her children. The next day, they all went to the helipad of the commercial building where the company's main office was located. "Why are we here?" she asked, seeing the helicopter ready. "We're going on a special trip," Ethan explained mysteriously. They flew for an hour until they reached a small town in the countryside of New York. There, the triplets had prepared an emotional surprise, a support center for single mothers that was being inaugurated with funds they had saved from their modeling fees. "You did this?" Jennifer asked emotionally, seeing the sign, "Jennifer Parker Center for Single Motherhood Support." "We wanted to honor you and help other mothers going through the same situation you experienced," explained Noah. "With daycare, professional training courses, psychological support, and even a small garment workshop to create jobs," detailed Emma. "It's our way of thanking you for everything you've done for us," concluded Ethan. Jennifer cried profusely. It was the greatest demonstration of love and gratitude she could receive. Her children had learned not only to be successful, but to be generous and aware. The center became a national reference in supporting single mothers. In 2 years, it had already served over 1,000 women, offering not only emergency assistance but tools for them to build their own stories of overcoming. "You're creating a legacy even greater than the company," Jennifer said proudly. "We're continuing your legacy, Mom," corrected Ethan. "You taught us that success isn't about having, it's about being and making a difference." At 17, the triplets already had fully formed personalities and clear plans for the future. Ethan was preparing to study business at the best university in the country. Emma wanted to study fashion design in Paris. Noah had been accepted into a renowned medical school. "You're going to leave me all alone," Jennifer joked, pretending to be sad. "We'll never leave you alone," promised Emma. "We'll study, graduate, but we'll always come back home. And we'll always work together," assured Ethan. "The company is our family. And you'll always be our inspiration," finished Noah. It was true, the bond between them was unbreakable, forged in the most difficult moments and strengthened with every shared achievement. Triplet Trends was now a multinational company valued at $500 million. Jennifer was among the wealthiest and most influential women in the country, but she remained the same humble and determined person who had raised 3 children alone. "What's your next dream?" asked a journalist during a special interview for the company's 18th anniversary. "To see my children fulfilled in their own careers and knowing I helped raise 3 good citizens." and professionally. To continue growing sustainably and expand our social programs, success that isn't shared isn't worth it. The triplets graduated high school as class speakers, all three of them. They were examples of academic excellence and youth leadership. Their graduation speeches moved the audience, speaking about overcoming, family, and life purpose. "We learned from our mother that it doesn't matter where you come from but where you're going," said Ethan in his speech. "That difficulties are just opportunities in disguise," completed Emma. "And that the love of a united family can overcome any obstacle," finished Noah. Jennifer watched from the audience with tears of pride. Those three extraordinary young people were her greatest achievement, more valuable than any business empire. In the summer before starting college, they took a family trip through Europe, visiting suppliers, exploring new markets, but mainly enjoying quality time together before the new phase of their lives. "This was the best trip of my life," said Jennifer on their last night in Paris. "Why?" asked Emma. "Because I got to travel the world with my three best friends, my greatest prides, my greatest achievements." "You're our greatest achievement too, Mom," said Noah. "You gave us life twice, when we were born and when you decided not to give up on us." It was a profound truth. Jennifer had given life to the triplets not just biologically but emotionally, offering them every opportunity to become the extraordinary people they were. When they returned to the United States, the triplets were preparing to start their respective universities. Ethan would stay in New York City studying business administration. Emma would go to Paris to study fashion design. Noah would move to Los Angeles to study medicine. "The family is going to be apart for the first time," Jennifer observed with a mix of pride and melancholy. "Physically, yes, but spiritually never," Ethan assured. "And during vacations, we all come back home," Emma reminded. "And you can visit us whenever you want," Noah invited. The farewell was emotional, but full of hope. Jennifer saw her children leaving to conquer the world, equipped with all the values and tools she had worked hard to give them. Alone for the first time in 18 years, Jennifer devoted herself fully to the company and social projects. She created a foundation to support single mothers, expanded the center the triplets had created to other cities, and began writing a second book on social entrepreneurship. The triplets excelled in their respective universities. Ethan became a student leader and president of the academic center. Emma won awards for creativity and innovation in design. Noah was accepted into an exchange program in international pediatric medicine. "You are making history in your fields," Jennifer said proudly during a video call. "We are applying everything you taught us," Ethan replied. "Leadership, creativity, determination, and especially empathy," Emma listed. "You prepared us for the world, Mom," Noah acknowledged. Jennifer was moved. Even apart, the connection between them remained strong and inspiring. During her children's college years, Jennifer allowed herself some more serious relationships. She met Andrew, a technology entrepreneur, a widower and father of 2 adult children. He was a mature, successful man who respected her journey and was genuinely interested in her as a person, not just her success. "The triplets approved of Andrew," she commented to Catherine after his visit when the children were home. "And you? Are you happy?" "I am. For the first time in 18 years, I have someone with whom I can share not only joys, but also responsibilities." "You deserve to be happy as a woman, not just as a mother and businesswoman." It was true. Jennifer had dedicated herself so much to her children and the company that she had forgotten herself as a woman. Andrew made her remember that she also had the right to romantic happiness. The triplets graduated with honors in their respective fields. Ethan became an expert in family business management. Emma created a collection that caught the attention of international haute couture. Noah specialized in pediatric cardiology. "Now, are we all going to work together again?" Jennifer asked during the triplets' graduation celebration. "Yes, but each bringing their specialty," Ethan explained. "I will take care of the company's strategic management. I will create a children's haute couture line to expand our operations," Emma detailed. "And I will lead our social responsibility area, focusing on children's health," Noah completed. It was the perfect plan, each contributing their expertise to elevate the family business to a new level. Andrew proposed to Jennifer in an intimate ceremony with only the triplets as witnesses. He was a man who understood that they were the priority in her life, and wanted to join the family, not divide it. "Do you approve?" Jennifer asked her children. "We approve," they answered in chorus. "You deserve to be happy." "And he's cool," Ethan added. "And he respects our family," Emma observed. "And he will take good care of you when we are traveling for work," Noah completed. The wedding was simple but emotional. At 45, Jennifer Parker allowed herself a new chance at love, but never forgetting that her greatest love story would always be with the Triplets. The company, now under shared management between mother and children, reached new heights of success. Emma's haute couture line conquered major European markets. The social projects led by Noah gained international recognition. Ethan's strategic management optimized processes and increased profits by 300%. "We're a real business family now," Jennifer remarked during a board meeting. "We always were," Ethan corrected. "Since you used to push us in the stroller to Mrs. Johnson's market. The difference is that now we have the structure to dream even bigger," Emma added, "and the resources to help even more people," Noah concluded. It was true. Triplet Trends was no longer just a successful company, but a platform for social transformation that inspired other family businesses worldwide. The Triplets, now 22-year-old adults, were internationally recognized as young business and social leaders. They gave lectures at universities, participated in global economic forums, and consulted for other family businesses. "You've exceeded all my expectations," Jennifer said emotionally during a family dinner. "We just reaped what you sowed," Ethan replied. "You gave us strong roots and wings to fly," Emma poetized. "And most importantly, you taught us that family and work can go together when there's love and respect," Noah concluded. Andrew, who had integrated perfectly into the family, watched those interactions with admiration. "You're an extraordinary family," he commented. "It's a privilege to be part of this." "You brought even more harmony to our home," Jennifer acknowledged. Life had found a perfect balance. Jennifer had a united family, a prosperous company, a happy marriage, and the satisfaction of having turned a story of abandonment into a saga of success and overcoming. Triplet Trends turned 20 years old, being recognized as one of the most admired companies in the world, not only for its commercial success but for the positive social impact it generated. During the 20th anniversary celebration, Jennifer was surprised by a special tribute. Hundreds of single mothers who had been helped by the company's programs showed up to thank her personally. "You changed my life," said one, holding Jennifer's hand. "You gave me hope when I had none left," commented another. "You proved that it's possible to start over and succeed," added a third. Jennifer wept copiously. That was the true success, knowing that her story had inspired thousands of other women not to give up on their dreams. The Triplets, now experienced executives, were moved seeing the real impact their family had caused in society. "Mom, you didn't just save our family," Ethan said. "You saved thousands of families." "We saved," she corrected. "Everything we achieved was as a team." It was a truth that perfectly defined their journey, a family that turned difficulties into strength, abandonment into determination, pain into purpose. At 50, Jennifer was considered one of the most influential women in the country. She had received international awards for entrepreneurship, female leadership, and social responsibility. But her greatest achievement remained having raised 3 exceptional children who became upstanding and successful adults. The Triplets began forming their own families. Ethan married a veterinarian and they had twins. Emma married a French architect and they had a boy. Noah married a pediatrician, and they had triplets in a genetic coincidence that moved the entire family. "I'm now a grandmother to 7 grandchildren," Jennifer celebrated, radiant with happiness. "And they'll grow up hearing the story of the grandmother who never gave up," said Ethan. "They'll learn from a young age that family is strength and that love overcomes any obstacle," added Emma. "And they'll know they come from a lineage of fighters," finished Noah. The company was now being prepared for the 3rd generation. The Triplets were implementing business education programs for their own children, teaching them family values and social responsibility from an early age. "Will you teach your children what I taught you?" asked Jennifer. "Of course. That family comes first. That work should have purpose, and that success without social impact isn't worth it, replied Ethan. That women can overcome any obstacle when they have determination, added Emma, and that love and family unity are the foundation of any lasting achievement, completed Noah. Jennifer smiled contentedly. Her mission had been accomplished with flying colors. Not only had she built a prosperous company, but she had raised a family that would perpetuate positive values through the generations. Years later, on a sunny morning, Jennifer was at the company building's helipad, waiting for the triplets to arrive from an international business trip. At 55, she remained elegant and radiant, wearing a discreet yet sophisticated black dress, sunglasses, exuding the confidence of someone who had achieved everything with her own hands. The triplets, now 30 years old, stepped off the helicopter wearing impeccable suits, demonstrating the refined upbringing they had received. They were successful adults, respected internationally, but maintained the simplicity and humility that Jennifer had always cultivated in them. It was at that moment that a man nervously approached the group. It was Richard, now 55, with graying hair, a tired appearance of someone who had faced many hardships. He worked as a street vendor selling cleaning products and had come to the building trying to sell to some employee when he recognized the family he had abandoned decades ago. "Jennifer?" he called hesitantly, his voice choked. She turned slowly, removing her sunglasses. Her gaze was serene, without anger or resentment, but also without any trace of special emotion. "Yes," she replied politely, as if she didn't recognize him. I'm Richard, your ex-husband. Their biological father," he stammered, pointing to the triplets. The three positioned themselves discreetly beside their mother, elegant and imposing. They looked at Richard with polite curiosity, but without emotional recognition. "I'm sorry, but I don't recall knowing you," Jennifer replied with absolute calm. "Do you children know this gentleman?" "No, Mother," the three replied in unison with the same distant politeness. Richard became desperate. "Jennifer, please, you have to remember, we were married. They're my children. I know I was wrong, that I abandoned you, but—" "Sir, I believe you're confusing our family with another," Jennifer interrupted gently. "My children have always had only a mother. There was never a father in this story." Ethan, always diplomatic, stepped forward. "Sir, perhaps you should verify who you're speaking to. Our family has always been just the four of us." Emma, with her natural elegance, added, "If you're looking for someone specific, perhaps the building reception can help you." Noah, demonstrating the empathy he always had, but without recognizing any connection, said, "You seem to need help. May I ask our assistant to guide you?" Richard was visibly desperate, but also impressed with the triplets' class and upbringing. "My God, you're incredible people. Your company, I saw on television, you made it." "Thank you for the compliment," Jennifer replied cordially. "But now, if you'll excuse us, we have an important meeting." She made a discreet gesture to the building's security guards, who approached politely. "Is there a problem, Mrs. Parker?" one of them asked. "No, it's just that this gentleman seems to be lost. Perhaps you can help him." The triplets politely said goodbye to Richard with a nod and followed their mother toward the private elevator. "Jennifer, please," Richard shouted one last time. "I always knew you would make it. I always believed in you." She turned one last time with a serene but firm look. "Sir, believing would have meant staying. Those who abandon lose the right to share the victories." The elevator doors closed, leaving Richard outside, alone with the weight of his past choices. Inside the elevator, the triplets looked at their mother with renewed admiration. "Mum, that was perfect," said Ethan. "You were elegant until the very end," commented Emma. "And you taught us another lesson about dignity," observed Noah. "Did you feel anything when you saw him?" Jennifer asked. "Honestly? Pity?" replied Ethan. "He missed the chance to get to know three wonderful people, and to have an amazing family," added Emma. "But most of all, he missed the chance to learn from the strongest woman we know," finished Noah. Jennifer smiled, proud of her children, proud of her journey, proud of having turned abandonment into triumph. In the office, during the meeting about the company's international expansion, Ethan made an observation that perfectly summarized the situation. "Mum, do you know what the difference is between him and us?" "What?" "He chose to run when things got tough. We chose to fight together when things became impossible. And that's why we're a real family," completed Emma. "And that's why we built an empire based on love, not convenience," finished Noah. Jennifer looked out the office window, seeing the city stretch out before her, from an abandoned young woman pregnant with triplets to one of the country's most respected businesswomen. From 3 premature babies to 3 exceptional adults. From a story of abandonment to a saga of overcoming that inspired millions. "Do you know what I love most about our story?" she said, gathering her children in a hug. "What?" they asked curiously. "That it proves family isn't who gives you life, but who chooses to live life with you. And that true success isn't measured by what you have, but by what you build together with those you love," said Ethan. "And that women united can overcome any obstacle," added Emma. "And that true love multiplies strength instead of dividing it," finished Noah. Outside the building, Richard watched the helicopter take off, carrying the family he had rejected, a family that had become everything he had ever dreamed of being, prosperous, united, respected, and happy. He had lost not only a wife and 3 children, but the chance to be part of the most inspiring success story he knew. Now all he had left was to live with the consequences of his choices, and the certainty that some opportunities once lost never return. Meanwhile, in the helicopter taking them back home, Jennifer held the triplets' hands and reflected on the extraordinary journey they had traveled together, from 3 abandoned babies to 3 successful adults, from a desperate mother to an inspiring businesswoman, from a shattered family to a clan united by bonds stronger than blood, bonds of choice, love, and overcoming. The story that began with abandonment and despair had become the greatest proof that, when you have love, determination, and family unity, there is no obstacle that cannot be overcome. And so, Jennifer Parker and her triplets continued soaring toward the future, leaving behind not just a remorseful man, but all the pain of the past, carrying only the triumphs of the present and the even greater dreams that awaited them ahead. The end of the story. Now tell us what you thought of this story of overcoming adversity. Do you know any warrior mothers like Jennifer? Leave your opinion in the comments. If this story moved you, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other inspiring stories of overcoming and female strength.